Oh, good morning and welcome. That's so funny. As soon as I hit the go live button, there's a cat fight outside the window. Good morning. I'm Colleen Hammond. Hope you have your cup of coffee, tea, or smoothie in hand. Today we're going to talk about energy, and the show will start in about 4.5 minutes, so that if you want to zip on forward to that, you can. Right now, we're just chatting and making sure that everything is working. And then I just realized I don't have my earrings on either. So, where did my earrings go? So, anyway, how is everybody this morning? Can everybody hear me? And we'll get to the question of the day. Do you feel like you have enough energy to get through the day? Is your energy the same in the morning that it is in the afternoon, in the evening? So how does your energy level go throughout the day? Good morning, Sarah. Oh, I know. Amy has no sound. Oh, good morning, Joanne. Oh, golly. Good morning, Mukesh. Yeah, energy is a lot in your head, really. And we'll talk about that a little bit more today. So, what earrings should I put on today? That'd be a little bit much. Let's put these on. Why not? My little travel bag of earrings and jewelry and necklaces and bracelets and, oh! Okay, maybe I won't put those earrings on. I dropped them. Let me see. Sarah can hear. Carrie says, never have enough energy. Well, we'll take care of that today. Get the earrings. Good energy unless I'm hit with something emotionally draining. Isn't that interesting when we're talking about that? This is actually going to be about a 2-3 week series. I'm going to talk about energy and life and physical energy and mental energy and that kind of stuff. So this is going to last a couple of weeks. Morning, Sister Fran. Hi, Sherry. A little glitchy this morning. Interesting. Okay. Lose energy as the day goes on, says Debbie. You know, I have, with my biorhythms, I totally kind of right around 1:30. And, you know, kind of depending on when I wake up, right? So I definitely have that point in the day where I just hit a skid. So I know where my highest energy point is. It's first thing in the morning. I get up at 4:30. I'm going to talk about sleep today too. But I find that really right around whatchamacallit, 1:30 in the afternoon, I just like, you know, it's like the robot that just kind of shuts down. So good morning, Jen. I can't hear you when I first connected, but I leave and come back and it's good. Happens via mobile every day. Thank you, Facebook. Hey, good morning, Brandon. More protein, says Brandon. Teresa says I lose energy in the afternoon. Yeah. Good morning, Anne Marie. Let me see. Lose energy as the day goes on. I moved over to a different area for comments, so I want to make sure I'm hearing everybody. Love the blue glasses. Yeah, these are my favorite glasses. The problem with these is, you know, when I tilt them up so that you don't get a glare off my soft boxes, they go crooked. So anyway, and also today is National Cordon Bleu Day, which means blue ribbon in French. So in the 1500s, the Order of the Knights of the Holy Spirit became known as Les Cordons Bleus. They used a blue ribbon to hang their talisman, and eventually the term became associated with distinction and honor, and we reward blue ribbons for excellence. So today is National Cordon Bleu Day. And we've got 1 minute before we get started. There's the sound, said Amy. Yeah, Joanne says that every morning on mobile. Are you watching on mobile, Amy? Joanne says she has to leave and come back in. So have you made cordon bleu? Do you like cordon bleu? So yeah, that's the question then today. How are your energy levels? Energy wanes in the afternoon, says Margot. Yeah, me too, man. It's like 1:30. Between 1:30 and 3, useless. So that's usually when I watch videos, I do trainings and take notes and that type of thing because I just can't move. About 2 o'clock for Carrie. Yep. Poor energy for Dorothy Louise. You're using an iPad. That could be why, because Joanne says she has to leave and come back in every morning. So it could be a Facebook to mobile issue. So anyway, let's get started talking about energy. Good morning and welcome to Coffee with Colleen. I am Colleen Hammond. I'm a former on-camera meteorologist for the Weather Channel, turned executive image consultant and personal branding strategist. And I teach women how to look and feel like $1 million every single solitary day of your life. Because you know what? When you feel like you look good, you do look good and you feel marvelous. So today we are talking about how to have more energy. And this is going to be a part of, I don't know, about a 10, 12, 15 part series. Haven't really decided on a couple of topics that I want to talk about, if it's going to take more than one day or less than one day to talk about this. So it'll be basically 10 to 15 parts. And today is part 1. We're going to be talking about energy, and one of the first places that you're going to feel or not feel energy is first thing in the morning. So are you a morning person? Do you wake up energized? Do you have a morning routine? If you don't, check out the autopilot class. Do you have to have food before you really get revved up and going? Is that where your energy comes from? Do you have to have coffee? Do you have to have a shower first? Do you have to work out first? What is your morning routine like? Where does your energy come from? Where does it reside? We'll be talking about that in just a minute. But think about when you were a child, or if you have children, think about toddlers. Think about how difficult it is to get a child to go to bed, to take a nap. You know, there's all sorts of books and techniques and all this kind of stuff about how to get your child to sleep, you know, from crying it out to rocking them to driving them in cars, or, you know, there's this huge thing about trying to get a child to sleep, right? So what do we go through? Kind of the opposite, right? How do I get out of bed? So do you bounce out of bed like a toddler? Do you have a hard time going to bed at night? Lori says coffee helps, food slows her down. Yeah. Not a morning person and don't sleep well at night, says Terry. Tammy loses energy later in the day as well. So yes and yes. Okay. So yeah, there's just a different way that we respond to sleep and energy compared to when we were toddlers and we were little children and when we become adults. So how were you as a child? Because some children just don't get up well in the morning. Some people don't tend to be good morning people. But what morning routines, rituals, and habits do you have now that can either contribute to your energy or to take away from it? Debbie thought about it for a minute, says, I guess food wakes me up. So bedtime. Obviously, bedtime is the big issue, right? If we're not getting the sleep, we're not going to have the energy. And so many different studies have been done that when you don't have sufficient energy, your driving, your reaction time, your thinking skills are like you're legally drunk. So everything, your cognitive abilities are lowered when you're not getting that sleep and you don't have that energy. But energy comes from more places than just sleep and just food. It's a lot of it, as we were talking about in the pre-show show, a lot of it comes from how we're thinking, doesn't it? And I say this all the time, our brain does not have GPS and it doesn't have a clock. We don't know when we are or where we are, so our thoughts can be so powerful in giving us different emotions and different levels of energy. So we'll talk about that in just a minute too. But children have that huge FOMO, which is an acronym for fear of missing out. And how much of that do we take into our adulthood as well? What happened to, gosh, what's going on? I might miss out, might not be able to take advantage of it. What's going to happen? And that can be attributed to your temperament too. So different temperaments could care less about missing out. Other temperaments are like, no, I have to be the last person to go to bed because I might miss something. And that can't happen. Carrie said, not good sleeper, nursing, body pains, keep you up. We're going to talk a little bit about body pains today. Get up and get things done. Allergies make you feel tired. Allergies and health issues. Yeah, health issues can definitely drag you down, as can stress. And we'll talk about that in just a minute. So whatever happened to that toddler energy? You ever heard about the toddler diet? Like chase a toddler around and see if you can keep up, or the toddler exercise program. See if you can keep up with a toddler, and that'll tell you kind of what your health is. So what happened to that joie de vivre? where children are laughing and, because we talked about before, you're born with two fears, the fear of falling and the fear of loud noises, and everything else is just joyful. So where happened to all that joie de vivre, right? That je ne sais quoi, that is part of an energetic lifestyle. So how to get our pet back. Good morning, Mary Therese. Too many things I want to do, not necessarily have to do. Yeah, and stress, Lori says. Always cold and tired by 4 o'clock in the afternoon, says Victoria. And that can be some health issues, which we'll talk about in future days, not today. So we're going to talk about how to boost our physical energy to do things, and our mental energy as well. But what is energy? Well, if you go into the dictionary defines energy as, where is it? Our capacity for vigorous activity and our available power. But if you're in science, of course, now, I have a science background. That's my degree. I went to school for chemistry. Science says our capacity or power, there's that word again, to do work. Moving mass using force. So those are the scientific terms, the mass and the force. So work, let's get a little physics here. Work is force times distance. And that basically boils down to your work is measured in joules. So, you take force times distance equals your work. And force can be in newtons and blah, blah, blah. So the force required to work equals the force required to move something a certain mass, a certain distance. So if you're going to move a 5-pound bag of flour across the kitchen 5 feet, so it's that force required to move something a certain distance is work, which are measured in joules. And a joule, 4.18 joules actually, so roughly 4 joules is what's referred to as a calorie. So all calories are the energy that's available to us in food. And not all calories are equal. You have sugar calories, you have protein calories, you have carbohydrate calories, and each one of those is processed differently by the body, fat calories. So the body processes all of those differently. And this isn't a dietary course or anything, but that's what a calorie is, truly, is the energy value in food when it comes to our body. We're talking about energy in our body and force and that type of thing. So our body requires power, that energy, to run the engine. So we have to have a certain amount of calories every day. So too much energy in, that's food. Too much energy in and not enough energy out, that's when we gain weight. So the trick is to consume less, only to consume the amount of energy you need to use, right? Let me see. Oh, she's having a storm. Never a problem going to bed or getting up in the morning, says Rick, when you were little. Yeah, and how about now? Let's get that joie de vivre back, right? Debbie says, I don't like talking to people the first couple of hours. Fiona says, or get up and go, got up and went. So, yeah, or move a 70-pound child toward their greatness. That's true. Yeah, we're going to be talking about mental energy. Yeah, the mental energy in just a second, Terry. So too much energy in and not enough energy out. And that's basically what a diet is. You burn more energy than you can consume, because when you take all this energy in and then you don't use it, the body stores it as fat, so that it can go back and get that energy out of your body. So I just have a lot of energy here and a lot of energy here. I just have to use that energy. So, and then the average American right now, I forget which, it was not a Gallup poll. Anyway, there was a study that said that almost 40 years ago, back in 1970, compared to now, we consume on an average of 500 to 600 more calories per day. But are we living a more active lifestyle now than we were in the 70s? No, we're leading a less active lifestyle. So that's why there's all these situations where we're seeing weight problems and obesity and that type of thing. So that's basically what energy is from a scientific point of view, is a calorie, a joule. So that's your physical energy. That's just what your body requires to make sure your heart's beating and your lungs are working and your muscles are being taken care of, and just basic maintenance. You have to have some sort of energy coming into your body just to maintain your body. But a lot of what we're talking about is zest, right? A zest for life. Because you've got the energy available to you, because pretty much all of us have fat stores somewhere. So the energy, the physical energy is there. So we have the physical capacity to do things. But what we want to talk about is that mental energy, that joie de vivre, that zest for life, our vitality, right? And sometimes we're feeling tired and dragged out, and we've had enough sleep, but we're just not fully here, right? We're just not really engaged. We're not pretty mindful of our lives. So that's when we turn around and we look for ways to boost our energy. And how do most people do that? Right now, there's energy drinks. There's coffee. There's different things that we can turn to externally when really the answers are internal. And there's ways to do that too. So the things that makes that difference between why a toddler has overflowing energy and maybe we don't, it's got to be something else, right? Because we know scientifically we have the calories that we need. It's got to be something that's internal, that exuberance, the enjoyment of life. Like I said, that vivacity, that verve, that joie de vivre, that cheer. And some people just have a joyful spirit. Can it be learned? Can it be practiced? Can we be more mindful of it? Absolutely. And it all starts with how we choose to think about things. And I've talked about in different series that, you can either clean the bathroom and feel like it's drudgery, or go, you know what? This thing is going to be gleaming when I'm done. And you're like polishing and you finish and you go, woohoo! Look at the shine on that chrome, right? Or you can be, thank God that's done. You use the same amount of physical energy or calories or joules or whatever you want to say that you did in both. But what was different were your thoughts, and how you can change your thoughts to give yourself more energy. Tony Robbins does an amazing brief little exercise where you hold your body as if you have no energy and say, okay, and you can do this right now. How would you sit if you had no energy? Where would your shoulders be? Where would your head be? Where would your arms be? Where would your thoughts be? Now, immediately switch your body. And how would you sit if you had energy? Where would your shoulders be? How would you breathe? What would be happening in your face, in your neck, in your arms, in your hands? Are your hands closed? Are they open? And just by changing the way your body is positioned, you immediately feel different. Because your body goes, oh, I'm happy now. I need a smile. I need more energy. And it releases the chemicals needed to have that energy and those emotions. So not just your thoughts, but your physical body language too. Like they say in 12-step program, says Anne Marie, fake it till you make it. Fake it till you become it. Absolutely. Great info, says Frank. Thank you. Buffering issues once in a while. All righty. Just leave and come back or watch the replay. Pride in your work, pride in getting it done. Yeah. Taking that extra effort to care about your end result is huge too, Frank. Very good point. Fiona says, I remember reading a quote back in high school. I've never forgotten. The older I get, the more I realize the impact of attitude. Your attitude determines your altitude, they say. I think that was Zig Ziglar. So how do you feel about your current state in life? How do you feel about if you're working a 9-to-5 job, for example, or a 7-to-7 job? How do you feel about where you are currently in your life? Because a Gallup survey indicated that 70% of people weren't happy with their current state of affairs, their current position in life, whether it be their job or life or whatever. So consequently, they're kind of disengaged. So if you're, for example, let's say you're working 40-hour work week and you're mentally and physically disengaged and not happy, you're like this, 8 to 10 hours a day, or let's say it's actually 8.8, 8 to 9 hours a day, and you're just kind of down, what's going to have to happen is you are going to have to make the decision to do something different. And according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the average working day is 8.8 hours. So if somebody is in a 9-to-5 job and they're working on an average of 8.8 hours, more if you're working a full-time job and you're a parent as well, then what's going on in your body? What's going on in your mind? And with 70% of people indicating they're not happy with where they are now in their life, that means, between 2/3 and 3/4 of people, 70%, are getting energy drinks and drinking coffee and doing that kind of stuff. Also, stress puts a cognitive load. So not only do you have that cognitive load on your brain just on an everyday process, it requires, when you're stressed, it requires more energy to just get through the day, to just get things done. So stress and a dissatisfaction of where you are right now in your life will cause a drain on your energy. And that's a mental drain because you've got the calories for this physical needs, but it's the mental drain that's sucking the energy out of you. And it's all right here. It's between your ears. It's right up in here. So that when you have an additional cognitive load, whether it's the stress or the dissatisfaction, it lowers your ability to think clearly too. So you have brain fog issues that come from stress. So what can we learn from the 30%? Because there's 30% of people that are hopping out of bed thrilled with life. What can we learn from them? That's what we'll be talking about over the next 10 to 15 different talks in the morning. So and I can just kind of give you a brief outline. It's a psychological framework that they use. And they have, I can't remember who did this. It was called Purpose-Driven Life. Does anybody remember off the top of their head who that was? But having purpose, if you feel that your life has a sense of purpose, that immediately gives you more energy. This 30%, so this 30% of people that have the joie de vivre and are satisfied with where they are, feel that their life has purpose. They feel that their life and their mission and their passion has meaning and has an impact. My friend Wendy Lipton-Dibner talks about that all the time, to focus on impact, which is the name of her book. So feeling a sense of connection, feeling a sense, with those around you, feeling a sense of purpose and meaning, that's what gives you that internal spark. And from that internal spark comes your emotions and your feelings. So we talk about emotional intelligence. And so you have your emotions and feelings come from that, but also energy levels. So that energy is huge based on what's in your head. Amy says, I need light for energy. Yeah, and that comes back to your physical needs. Absolutely. Amber says, I admit I struggle now being content and happy in a state in life, and the stress results in chronic fatigue and blah. Much of the time, I'll talk about a supplement in just a minute. Rick Warren. Thank you, Joanne. That was it. The temperament can enter into this again, too. Yep, we talked about that right at the beginning, about how your temperament will impact sleep. It impacts your energy levels. It impacts your fear of missing out type of thing. So since we're talking about sleep, we'll talk about sleep. According to the National Institute of Health, the average adult requires 7 to 8 hours of sleep. I'm one of those temperaments that don't need as much sleep, but I've done a lot of research on sleep recently and not happy with what I found, because I'm a good 4.5, 5 hours of sleep done. Don't need any more. But I am finding new things out, and it's not making me happy. T. Allen Haynes is in the house. How are you, Tracy? Good to see you. Still need to catch up on your program. We need to talk. So according to the National Institutes of Health, the average American needs 7 to 8 hours of sleep. I don't get that much. I feel sluggish if I get 7 to 8. 7's okay. 8 hours of sleep, I'm like, I can't move. So you have your diet, you have your exercise and your psychological framework, but you can't power through life without sleep. And that's one of the ways when they do torture is sleep deprivation, because weird things start happening in your head when you're sleep deprived. I drove back up from Houston late Sunday night. We all hung around at Wendy and Hal and Kim and Trisha, myself and Rhonda, and a couple other people. Just we hung around late afterwards. The conference wrapped up, I think, like at 2:30, and I ended up leaving at 8:30, and everybody was still talking. And I drove back home. It was 4.5 hours. So at conferences, I don't get as much sleep as I normally do. And I normally get about 5 hours of sleep. So I was working on less than that. And when you're driving home, especially at night, it's like there's a cow on the road. No, there's not, or there's some things happen when you're sleep deprived. Your brain starts playing tricks on you. And it's not nice. So you can't power through life and function without sleep. And those studies keep coming back over and over again to 7 and 8 hours of sleep. So, but we have this feeling in our culture, and especially when you're talking about, hustle and being an entrepreneur and working on your own and 80 hours a week. And yeah, I do this and I do that. And I'll sleep when I'm dead. I've been guilty of saying that. And I heard this weekend somebody said, sleep is for the weak. That was funny. But, okay, here's the thing. They've done so many studies on people that later in life, people who don't get enough sleep, because once you lose it, it's not like you can really catch up. Short term, a few days, yeah, you can kind of catch up. But we're talking about long-term lack of sleep. People have, severe impacts on their mind, where there's cognitive problems. Memory loss comes earlier in life. Then, like Margaret Thatcher in the course that I took on your brain and sleep, they talked about Margaret Thatcher, and she only got a couple hours of sleep at night. It's Prime Minister of the UK, or of England, right? And she ended up having severe cognitive impairments early and toward the end of her life. Bill Clinton talks about the lack of sleep that he felt led to his quadruple bypass. And he now gives speeches and travels around talking about the importance of sleep. And he said he thinks some of the problem with the American government is that the politicians aren't getting enough sleep. Well, that's a unique way of doing it, because, that crosses both sides of the aisle, right? Everybody's in Washington, D.C. They're just sleep deprived. That's what's going on. But research has shown that lack of sleep negatively impacts your brain and can lead to long-term neurological damage, as well as heart problems, increased in stress, because when you don't get the sleep, you need the sleep to handle the stress. And MRIs are showing a direct link between lack of sleep and this memory impairment. So it's essential to get good quality sleep. And I'm going to talk about that necessarily today. Today's kind of an introduction to what we're going to talk about over the next couple of weeks. But making sure that you're getting good sleep is important too. Dominique says, so if you're living in a place where there's little to no support spiritually, emotionally, and psychologically, and you can't leave, how do you manage? Well, we're talking kind of about that, coping strategies. We'll talk about that in a minute, or not in a minute, in the upcoming weeks too. Yeah, there's coping strategies. That's a long answer. Debbie says, since I was sick, I've been sleeping 10 hours. Like to get back to 8 hours, but you can't, because your body needs to sleep. It repairs itself when it sleeps. The brain, we're talking about this later, but this was part of the course I just took on the brain, that the brain cleanses itself. So like when you do a power nap in the middle of the afternoon, you need 90 minutes of a chunk of 90 minutes sleep for the brain to cleanse itself. So if you really feel that your brain needs to be refreshed and re-cleansed, you need a 90-minute nap. But if you're just doing a power nap, that's something that can just re-engage you and get the glucose levels back up and re-engage you for the day. So that's what a power nap would be helpful for. Got 4 hours last night. Yeah, you'll probably need either a power nap or an early night to bed tonight, Lori. Patricia says that's me. I lost 2 hours in the middle of the night every night. Yeah. And if it's right around between 2 and 4 a.m., your liver is backwashing and cleansing. So you might need a liver cleanse. Coping strategy, very helpful to Memney. That's the goal. Want to help. Lori says, pray for a priest friend. Insomnia for 35 years and can hardly function on meds. Yep, absolutely. So the importance of sleep. So in upcoming shows, these are some of the things we're going to be talking about. We're going to talk about how to build up your reserves. And that's going to be sleep and self-care, because, it's your body, how to build up the reserves in your body and take care of your body physically. making good choices that boost your energy, the things and the people that you have in your life that create that sense of vitality, that give you that joie de vivre. And understand too that energy is limited. It is kind of a zero-sum game, like you have 168 hours a week. There's this limited amount of energy that your body can produce on a daily basis, and what can it do? So mindfully allocating and conserving energy, mental and physical energy, for when you need it, which requires coping strategies, setting your priorities, how you spend energy on a daily basis, a weekly basis, and how to recharge when you run low. So just think about some of these questions as we're going through this series, and as we get into different topics over the next couple of weeks. What's energy mean to you? Why do you want to boost your energy? What do you want to achieve with more energy? And this will help you reconnect to your why, your mission, your passion. Why do you think God has you here? And why do you need more energy to get her done, right? Number 2, look at your state in life. Are you doing what you love? Are you doing what you feel God put you here to do? Are you living that mission? And of course, remember that, it's not like, okay, my children are young, but I really think God wants me to do this. I'm going to abandon my children. No, your state in life right now is to take care of your children if you're a parent and they're under the age of 18. And that never stops. All my kids are over 18 and you never stop being a parent. But you know what I mean? Your primary obligation, it needs to be, your faith, your family. Right? And then if your children need you, you're not out like, I'm living my passion in life. No. But are you doing what you love? And in your work, in your hobbies, in your charitable time, service, that's what the word I was looking for. Are you doing things that make you happy? And sometimes you can streamline it. You can make the things more efficient of the things that over here that don't give you joy. But you really do want to focus on areas that bring you joy. And if those areas over here that don't bring you joy, what can we do? And we'll do different strategies of what you can do to make this joyful. Like I talked about cleaning the bathroom, how you can change your mindset and change these things that may be drudgery into things that can be more joyful. And part of that thing over here that you might not like, it might be people. It might be time to let people in your life go. And you want a really good, quick way of determining who those people are? When your phone rings and you see the caller ID, do you want to answer it? Or do you let it roll over to voicemail? Because there's people that I can't miss this call. And there's other people like, and what happens to your body? Did you just see that? Oh. Those are the people you know, and if they're family, sometimes you gotta have coping strategies, but some people it's okay to let them go. We've all had family members at some point in our life where it's just, let it go, let it go, right? So everything in your world is going to give you energy or require energy from you. So I'm learning to identify who and what those things or people are. And looking at the people that you engage with in your life. Do you have those friends or those family members that give you that energy that you want to be with? Are you doing those things with those people because life is short? Life is short. I found out over the weekend that somebody I knew had passed away. And I hadn't spoken to them in a while, and they were on my mind a couple of weeks ago. And I thought, wow, I wonder how he's doing. Gosh, I haven't talked to him in so long. I knew his health was bad, but I heard he was feeling better. So when I get back from the conference, I'll have to make sure I give him a call. And then I was gone all last week, and and then I found out that he had just passed away. And I missed his funeral. And then I was mad that nobody let me know. So life is short. Who can you reach out to today? Right? liver cleanse recommendations. Yeah, I do, Victoria. We'll go to that in a minute. Chinese medicine says Joanne has wisdom in this area of diagnosing organs and body functions based on the time of day. Yeah, absolutely. Try 44-year-old, said Frank. Yeah. Tutoring and getting super energized when I'm tutoring, says Rick, and then afterwards I crash. I have to avoid planning, getting things done then. It's a struggle to keep anything after tutoring. Interesting. Thank you, Frank. I appreciate that. Frank said, sorry for your loss. I appreciate that. So spending time with people that give you energy, identifying you introvert, extrovert, ambivert. Like I was at this conference all this weekend. I had to take yesterday off because I'm pretty much an extrovert, but when I'm over extroverted, I need to take a day and decompress. And so, and do my introvert thing to re-energize. And that was me yesterday. I pretty much just shut down and did nothing all day yesterday. Also, number 5, are you valuing yourself in your self-care? Because this is where a lot of your energy is going to come from. Not from food, but from here. Are you too busy to exercise? You're not valuing yourself. You're telling other people too how to treat you when you don't treat yourself with value. Are you too busy to eat right? Do you prioritize the things you have to do, quote unquote, I have to do it, and not prioritize your health, your wellness, your well-being, your meditation time, your foods, your diet, your exercise? Are you making mindful decisions of things that you value? Or are you just kind of going through life like a pinball machine and just reacting to things and having a reaction instead of responding to life, planning life and responding to it? Or are you just having reactions to everything that's happening around you? So being more mindful of that. So I do want to talk briefly about supplements. I've been known to need a nap at parties, says Dorothy Louise. As my weekly Ignite Fosa and self-care, is it selfish? And it's not. Because you're not talking, Fiona, you're not talking about extravagance. You know, it's not like, oh, I have my spa day. No, I need to eat nutritious foods so I can nourish my body properly, so I have the energy and the health to serve those around me. You know, self-care is not selfish. I say it all the time. So let's talk about D-ribose. We're talking about D-ribose, and anything that ends, a little chemistry lesson from the chemist, right? Anything that ends with ose, O-S-E, is a sugar. And there's different types of glucose, fructose, glucose. We're talking about D-ribose. And D-ribose is used for people, especially with chronic fatigue syndrome or fibromyalgia, also anybody with heart disease. It's something that's naturally occurring in the body. Now, L-ribose is synthetic, but I'm talking about D-ribose. So it's a 5-carbon sugar, which is known as a pentose, right? So there's that ose again. Anything in ose is a sugar. It's a building block of ATP, which is mitochondrial, and that's where we get our energy from. But our body recognizes D-ribose as a different kind of sugar, and it's something that's more required by the body, especially the heart. So this is something I found out about last year, and I was a little worried about it because I can't do sugars, and you know, because of other health problems, and it's not diabetes and it's not hypoglycemia. So I have to be really careful with my sugars. So after my heart attack last year, which we're coming up in 5 days, will be the 1-year anniversary of, I was introduced to D-ribose to help the heart and rebuilding. And I was like, I can't do sugar. So I put it off and put it off and put it off. And then when I started taking it, I went, hey, I've been missing out on something my whole life. So after the show in the notes, you'll see a link to the D-ribose that I use. And if you want to read the book on chronic fatigue syndrome and having more energy, it's called From Fatigue to Fantastic. The link will be in the notes as well. And according to that book, which is the book I used, and I cross-referenced this dose with my doctor. So this is what I did. I'm not telling you what to do, but this is what I did. I am not a doctor. This is not medical advice. This is just for entertainment purposes only. Do you like all these FDA requirements? So I take 5 grams 3 times a day for 3 weeks, and then 5 grams twice a day as a maintenance dose. So when I first started, it's a little scoop. It's a powder. You just dump it in some water, stir it up, and drink it. And it'll increase your energy levels. But what it does is not just like that short, quick burn energy of sugar. What it is it's a building block for energy so that your cells require it to build with the ATP to give you that type of energy. So that's what I did, 5 grams 3 times a day for 3 weeks, and then 5 grams twice a day So 5G TID for 3 weeks, 5G BID for 2 as a maintenance dose. And those links will be in the show notes after the show. Let me see. We focus on first. Yeah. Amy says, I found these morning coffee talks important to self-care. Good. Helps me start off on the right foot in the morning. I'm so happy to hear that, Amy. Praise God for the miracle of D-ribose. Yeah, I agree, Adrienne. What was the other book you mentioned by the woman? Gosh, I don't know. You know me, I just get on a roll and I start talking. So if somebody can remind me of what it was about, then maybe I'll remember what it is. So what you want to do is by, taking the right supplements, taking care of your body, your diet, your health, your exercise, your meditation, it's going to give you the energy of a toddler again. And that verve, that spark, that zest, that joie de vivre of life and that energy level. So these are all the things we're going to be talking about in upcoming weeks. So starting now with self-care and starting with a 2-minute meditation, just a 2-minute meditation in the morning. If you're not used to meditating and you haven't done it, do you think you could do 2 minutes and just start with that? So that the first week do 2 minutes and next week increase it to 5. You may be ready to increase quicker than that. Oh, and I can give you a link to a free app that helps with that too. Amy's so right. My husband takes care of the grandbaby, so I can plug in and listen to Coffee with Colleen. Yay! That's fantastic. So starting with 2 minutes of meditation in the morning and just clearing your body, focusing on your breathing. Feel the breath going in and do abdominal breathing. Make sure you're expanding your abdomen so you get not the shallow breathing, but deep breathing. Focusing on your breathing. And then start from the crown of your head and work yourself all the way down to the tips of your toes. Focus on like a couple inches at a time of your body. Do you feel energy in the crown of your head, or do you feel tension? Do you feel any tension or energy in this part of your, like your forehead, your face, your facial muscles? And just work a couple inches at a time. Your neck. Talk about your shoulders, your upper back, and your arms, all the way down to your hands. Go all the way down in your body. Do you feel tightness in your stomach, in your back? Locate where pain areas are, where tightness resides. And what areas of your body do you feel energy in? It'll be really interesting when you do this meditation, just very quietly for 2 minutes, and just sit quietly and just do a body check. What parts of your body have more energy? And when you feel that area of your body that has energy, how can you take that energy? Maybe it's in your hands and you feel energized in your hands. How you can take that energy that's in your hands and just extend it up your arms a little further, or other areas of your body, and allow that energy just expand a little bit. Just be a little bit more mindful of the electricity that's happening in your body, because we're all electrical. My husband will kill watches. He has to wear one of these like a rubber band, because his energy in his body will suck batteries dry. It'll kill batteries in watches or anything like that. So he has to wear like these rubber bands. So he quit wearing watches. Thank goodness for smartphones, right? And then focusing on the a word. So starting your day, feeling where the tension is and relaxing that tension, feeling where the energy is and allowing that energy to expand to all different parts of your body, and then picking a word for the day. What's your word for today? What do you want today to be? And then just today's word is strong. I want to feel strong today, and just focus on that word. I'm strong today. I'm feeling strong. Right? Let me a couple of comments. Meditation, says Frank. Yep. Let me say I've heard of heart math. Oh, no, I haven't, Kim, but thank you. Great point. Where's the energy living in your body currently? Give yourself a big high five for that energy. Absolutely, Joanne. So what's that word that you want? Do you want to be alert? Do you want today to be focused? Do you want today to be peaceful? Going through a stressful time, you need today to be peaceful and just want one day of peace. I'll worry about that tomorrow, Be Scarlet. Oh, tomorrow. Do you want today's word to be healthy? So we'll pick a word for the day. And in your meditation, after you've been really mindful of where your energy resides in your body, and say, okay, now I'm going to use that energy today to be strong, to be focused, to be peaceful, to be healthy, to be engaged, to be alert. What's your word for the day? Go ahead and put your word in. If you have a word already picked out for your day today, go ahead and type it on in. So next time, tomorrow, we'll talk about more in depth about sleep, techniques for falling asleep, how to get a good deep sleep, and different apps that I use and that type of thing. But sleep for more energy. So are there any questions? Let me see if I have to heart math now. Happy is today's word of the day for Terry. Yay, I love happy. Focus, says Kim. Pinpoint focus. And, you know, for me, I find that if I'm just focused for a couple of hours, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to be focused for the next 50 minutes, and then I'm going to take a break. It's amazing how much you can get done. My typical work days are about 3 to 4 hours a day where I really focus and work. It's amazing what I can get done compared to, and then I'm like, nope, done. I'm off to other things. And then that's usually my mornings. I get my 3 hours worth of work done in the morning, break for lunch, and then afterwards is when I do my training and self-improvement. So I watch videos, I take courses. You know, I'm always talking about the courses I take. That's when I do them is 1:30, around right after lunch, 1:30 to 3 o'clock in the afternoon, because those are my downtime. And then I do a power nap, and then I can get more work done after 3 o'clock. So from 3 to 4:30, 5 o'clock, I get a lot more work done, and then I start with dinner. And sometimes I don't do the 3 to 5 o'clock work thing. You know, sometimes I have other things going on. I have errands to run or whatever. But that's where my energy is in the morning. So I focus, and I find that when I'm pinpoint focused, I can get so much done in a couple of hours. Peppermint oil does help you wake up. That's very true, Sarah. Yeah, breathe that peppermint a little bit on your tongue and then breathe in. Let it fill your sinus cavities. And because what it does is it opens your capillaries and gives you more oxygen. So that's why when I talked about meditation and breathing is really being able to open up your stomach and your gut and get that breath in. So super important. All right. So that was today's topic of the day. And remember how I said it was supposed to be shorter? I still went 40 minutes. This was supposed to be a 20-minute talk. Boy, I'm yammery. I guess I was just chatting a little bit too much. I apologize for that. Doggone, I wanted to be more focused. So we'll try to be a little bit shorter tomorrow because I want these to be share worthy. So word of the day is trust, said Anne Marie. Trust must be earned. I found that I gave away my, I love that. I found that in my life, I was talking to a friend of mine. He said, I was giving away my trust too soon. I kept getting hurt by people. And he was like, let's talk about trust. Word of the day is progress for Sarah. I engage in, and that takes time too. It does take time away from, it's that balance between the teaching and the engaging. You know, it's like teach a little, check the notes. Teach a little, check the notes. So it bounces back and forth. You're right, Joanne. So any prayer requests for the day today? Let's go ahead and throw in those prayer requests, and then let's zip on out of here. I want to catch up with TL and Tracy Haynes this morning. And also, if anybody, a couple of people actually emailed for links. The stress course is not available yet. You can sign up at the link to be the first person to be notified when the stress course is available. If you are in the emotional intelligence course and started last week, you can start at any point because new assignments go out 1 week at a time. This week should have been emailed to you. This week should now be open. So you should now be up to the second or the third module, actually, because you got the first two modules right away. The first week, and then the second week you get the third module is available to you. So that module should be available, and the workbook was uploaded when I was out of town. Andrew was supposed to upload the workbook. So feeling energized already, said Mary Therese. Good. Good. Just change your body language and, right? Put your face in that position. And you'll get more energy just by putting a pen in your mouth and walking around. Fiona asked for prayers to recognize her passion and follow in the way God would have me to do so. That's always a good idea, wanting to follow God's will for our life and get our priorities in order. So for all those prayer requests, get those prayer requests jotted down. I have to take somebody out of here in 1 minute. So I'm going to wrap things up, but please continue to put in the prayer requests below. And I will come back and answer your questions. If there was any questions or comments that I missed, then I will definitely come back and make note of those. And make sure you share this out, like, comment, and share, because I think this information is freely available, and I want to help give people more energy in their life and try to counteract a lot of the crud that's going on. And so please feel free to, if there's any moms in your life, any entrepreneurs, mompreneurs especially, that are trying to balance mom life and family life as well as their business, please share this video with them, so hopefully that they'll be able to learn the same things that you're learning and increase their energy levels as well. Have shared already, says Fiona. Done, says Frank. Bam. Prayers for my nephew's conversion and for financial needs, says Patricia. God bless everybody here. Need to get started on the EQ class when Tay keeps getting away from me. Then you need the autopilot class, which I'm still working on getting those. There's a lot to work on that autopilot class. I didn't realize. Prayer for my gallbladder, says Carrie. I need back on a better diet. Watch those fats, eh? I don't have problems with my gallbladder. I know somebody else that did. So make sure to do that already. Have shared it, and shared it. Good. I see a couple of private notes coming in. And thank you for yesterday, too, for all the suggestions that you gave me and the links that you sent me in private message. I haven't caught up with that yet. Like I said, yesterday was kind of my refuel day where I had to sit back and refuel on a bunch of stuff. Sarah asked for prayers for her friend's son's surgery. For surgeries, but he's had a bad seizure for his heart and doing odd things. That's crazy. 3 docs coming in for him. Prayers. Absolutely. Thanks for the dose of energy today, says Mukesh. Very, very welcome. I did a wonderful meditation this morning on energy, and it was amazing. It was amazing. So it was a guided meditation, and it was really, really good. So I thought, wow, what a more appropriate time than to do an energy clearing type meditation and an energy increase, and just really being able to tap in the different parts of my body that I was carrying energy that I didn't realize. And what really surprised me is the area of my body that didn't have energy. That was weird. So surgery for seizures. Okay, got it. Had a bad seizure. Okay, got it. All right, so we're going to head on out of here, and tomorrow we're going to be talking more about sleep, how to get more of it, how to get more effective sleep, so that when you are sleeping, it's more effective for you, and how to implement all of that into your evening. All righty, so have an amazing day. God bless you. I love you all. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing. Sharing is caring, they say, but you know, it's kind of like that gift of time, and you give me your gift of time every morning and your time that you'll never get back. That's a huge honor and an obligation for me, that I really want to make sure that your time is well spent. And the way I know that I'm doing pretty good is like, you know how it is, like you share something, you share a quote or something, and a lot of people share that with other people. You go, oh, that was a good quote, right? That helped a lot of people. That's how I judge, is my time valuable to you, is when I see a lot of people have shared. And that's one of the things that led me to do this series on energy, is I saw that so many people were sharing previous shows that I did on energy. So that is kind of how I gauge it. Am I giving good stuff? Do people feel that they're getting something out of it, or am I wasting my time? And if I'm wasting my time, I might as well just stop doing this, because a lot of time and effort goes into preparing this. So I know that when I see a lot of people sharing a particular talk, I know that I provided value, and I feel good that I actually gave you something that was worth your time. So thank you for sharing, because that really shows me that I'm not wasting your time or my time, really, that my time is invested in a good area. Especially since I got family up and around, and you do too, you know, and like Fiona says, you got somebody taking care of the grandbaby so that she can be here and get some information. And that means a lot to me. It really, really does. So anyway, I love you all. Have an amazing day, and we'll see you tomorrow. Pick your one word of the day and go get it. God bless. Bye.